Wouldn't it be fun if the next testimonial we post somewhere online would be about you and what amazing results you got in the first 2 weeks after practicing mental fitness and healing your trauma? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be fun if 3 months from now, I would be doing the next podcast interview episode with you, sharing your wins about how you managed to turn your whatever happened in your childhood and however crazy momzilla, like burned out supermom you were, how you managed to turn it around in 3 months, inspiring other moms with your story. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be amazing? It's all possible for you. So, welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. The episode today is for you if you still keep shouting, yelling at your kids, losing your patience. And you might have heard me talk about mental fitness already, as mental fitness being one of the keys of the success of our Zen Supermom clients. Mental fitness being the reason why they stop shouting and yelling within the first few days. And we have started sharing more and more of testimonials where moms even show their score, because we can even measure what is your ability to stay calm even under stressful situations on a scale from 0 to 100%. And those moms often they start at 8% or 15%. And within few weeks, their ability increases to 50, 60, 80, 90%. So how come? What is the secret? The secret is mental fitness. And what is really that? How does it look like? How does it work? Why does it work so fast? And what are some specific examples of how it worked for other moms? Maybe to show you and inspire you what would be possible for you. That's what we are going to talk about today. So join me in. Hi, Supermom or Superdad. Alena here, your mommy tantrum specialist and the founder of the Zen Supermom system. And me and my team have helped hundreds of moms and dads start setting healthy boundaries with calm. And this is the first parenting podcast that is not about your kids, that shows you why none of the parenting techniques helped you stop yelling at your kids and how to control your emotions from jumping out so that you can be the safe, loving parent you wish you had growing up. This is the Zen Supermom podcast. Hi, my name is Elena. I'm the mommy tantrum specialist and the founder of the Zen Supermom and now even Zen Superdad program. And why it's been such a success, the program really is because of two key reasons that I explain in our mommy tantrum training. And usually I spend a lot of time in that training to explain the first part, the first key. And that is like, hey, if you haven't figured it out yet, the reason why you cannot control your anger with your kids, that reason is in your own childhood. So I explained there what generational developmental trauma is, that drip, that your parents made you feel not heard, not good enough, not respected, not listened to, not worthy of unconditional love, because there was always a long list of conditions you had to fulfill in order for them to stop being mad at you and give you a hug and make you feel good. I explained all of that in the first part of the mommy tantrum training. Lots of people get so emotional and completely, what? Nobody told me. I thought I already did all of my therapy, counseling. I already did so much to heal my childhood. Or like me, people who had a happy childhood, they sit there and thinking what the heck are you telling me? My parents were amazing. You're telling me that I have a trauma from my amazing childhood? We cover all of that, but that's why it takes so much time. It takes often 40, 45 minutes of 1 hour of that training just to explain this. And it's a huge aha moment for all of these parents. That's why I spent so much time explaining the first piece. Well, what do you need in order to stop your uncontrollable anger from jumping up at your kids and basically ruining your relationships, often not even with your kids, but also with your partner, spouse, your own parents? That's the first piece. But then the second piece that I usually don't have enough time to go through, to explain and share examples about, that's the mental fitness piece. And why it's so important, why you need that together with one-on-one developmental childhood trauma therapy, the reason is that because if you would do them separately, if you do only the one-on-one childhood developmental trauma therapy, then you would be still stuck in your patterns. So it's already perfect. Congratulations. Usually after people finish their sessions, one-on-one trauma sessions, then there is no more of that uncontrollable anger. You're able to manage your emotions in a much healthier, safer way. So your kids stop feeling threatened, stop feeling scared. They feel like they can stop tiptoeing or walking on eggshells around you because they know you're not going to blow up. Okay, that's why one-on-one sessions are important to heal your childhood so that it stops being like a childhood trauma time machine that whenever your kids disrespect, do not listen, whenever you're under stress or time pressure, you stop jumping up at people and then regretting it afterwards, okay? That's why the one-on-ones are important. However, even after you do that, imagine, even for some people it's even too good to be true, imagine it is possible to heal that. You can stop reacting with that anger. But even then, so what? And I have often moms who are telling me, yes, I have healed my childhood. I have done so much therapy. That's not the problem. Okay. So first of all, if you still have your uncontrollable anger, if you cannot manage effectively your emotions, you still have a problem. You need to still do our childhood trauma therapy because it's different than any other talk therapy, EMDR, CBT, IFS, EFT, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, classic counseling, you name it. None of those are equipped to heal. They will analyze it. They will talk to you about it. They will explain to you it was not your fault. Great first step. But you need specific, practical, effective tools to heal it in a few days. Okay? That's what we give our clients in their one-on-one sessions. However, even then you're left out with the second problem. Okay, my past is clean. Okay, I'm not yelling anymore. I'm not making my kids feel scared. But my kids are still there, not doing what I tell them to do. They are still causing me to be late. They are still having their tantrums, which are embarrassing for me and for them. They are still having those big emotions that I cannot help them navigate. So what do I do then? How do I set boundaries without punishing them, shaming them, blaming them? Kind of like, okay, it's great. I'm celebrating. I'm not yelling, but I'm a still lost parent. What do I do then? This is where the second piece, the mental fitness piece of what we are doing inside the program is so important, okay? Because in parallel with those one-on-one childhood trauma healing sessions, we are teaching mental fitness. What is mental fitness really in relation to parenting? Is that it gives you, basically this is my super brief, simplified definition for parents. It gives you the healthy way of communication and boundary setting that your parents couldn't give you because most likely they didn't have them. They didn't know how. Because if they knew, they would have taught you, you would have never ended up here. You would have never been looking for solutions about parenting because you would be already a happy, calm parent in peace with your choices and with your way of handling difficult situations with your kids. You're not. You're here looking for help. So that tells me, bless your parents. We are not here to blame them for anything. They did the best they could. Just like you are now doing the best you could with your kid, you can with your kids, perfectly imperfect. But most likely there's this piece missing for you to know how. Specific example to illustrate. One of the moms, I have now like the more difficult examples on my mind. One of the moms in a group call a few weeks back, teenager son, early teenage years, throwing chairs. So when he gets angry, he is completely out of control. He starts throwing furniture to the point of when he's damaging the home and they are being scared for their health, like everybody. Yeah, they're being scared that he's going to hurt them and that he's going to hurt himself. What do you do then? Another child who was harming himself. Whenever he got so sad, so angry, so frustrated with himself, he was hurting himself. Another child who, lots of children of our moms inside the program, when they're smaller, like toddlers or young school kids, having problems with food. So they were even gagging, spitting out food, huge control issues around food. Yeah. What do you do then? Okay, congratulations, you're not yelling, but you still have problems here on your hand. How do you communicate with these kids? How do you help them through these struggles, right? Lots of kids with ADHD. By the way, I even made a podcast episode about it. Let's link it up here in the description, where you can go and find out where not only most of the ADHD symptoms did not start as ADHD, meaning they were not triggered by genetically already born modifications in the brain of your kids. Your kids were not born with ADHD. But most of the kids of the moms we work with, we find out that it is that childhood trauma again. It is that childhood pain. It is growing up not feeling safe, not feeling loved unconditionally, feeling that the home environment isn't so much chaos or drama, or they don't feel safe. They feel threatened. So of course their brain is dysregulated. They have problems focusing. They have problems controlling their impulses because they are out of control. They feel out of control. They don't feel safe. They don't understand what are the boundaries, what safety feels like. Their nervous system can never calm down. And so in some kids it manifests as ADHD. In some kids, the lack of control and too much of controlling parenting results in eating disorders very often, because that's the only thing the kids can control, if they spit out or vomit the food. Yeah. The out of control throwing things or classic tantrums, yeah, all of those are results of what happened to your kids when they were younger. Okay, not to blame you, not to put the finger in your face, it's your fault. Not your fault, but your responsibility to clean it up. Yes. How? How to not freak out even when your kids are having a hard time. And not even in that moment. The trick is not, and this is why, parenting techniques are useful to get some theory, but this is where they fall really short, because it's already too late. When you are already having the situation, it's useful to know how to help your kids calm down and not escalate it even more by you getting out of control and yelling. But then it's already too late. My biggest interest is in helping you anticipate and clean up whatever precedes that situation. Clean up your family environment, your boundaries, your rules. Renegotiate with the kids depending on their age, depending on the situation. But set some healthy rules and boundaries on how to do that so that you can prevent these big escalations as much as possible. Perfectly imperfect. Again, not here to eliminate 100% of tantrums. That's not possible. Kids, especially between the age of 2 till 5, they are supposed to have big emotions, and it's okay. All emotions are invited as long as you know how to manage your emotions and you don't feel threatened by the noise they are making. There are lots of moms who are triggered by noise because there was significant noise and trauma from their own childhood. Again, that's why we do one-on-one sessions. But then how do you help your kids through their stuff? And how do you help to prevent it as much as possible? That's where mental fitness comes in. 9 saboteurs, aka 9 trauma coping mechanisms. Okay? Because these are the voices in your head that prevent you from knowing what are healthy boundaries, what are healthy ways of communicating. Because this is what I love the most about mental fitness. Initially, it was developed by Shirzad Chamine, executive coach and owner of a business in Silicon Valley. So they did it for the top dogs, like business executives and multi-billion-dollar companies with thousands of people around the world. That's why they developed it. I trained at it because I used to coach corporate women on their career, how to progress their career. Okay, so that's why I went to that training of mental fitness, so that I can learn for those women to help them progress faster. But because I do and practice everything that I preach to my clients, I started practicing mental fitness, and I started noticing, apart from helping me in my professional business life, the most significant differences I started feeling were in my personal life, in my parenting. I was able to stay calm with my daughter. And moreover, I started noticing that I could clean up those situations. I could clean up my reactions so that my daughter wouldn't even have to go into a tantrum. Because I realized I was causing unconsciously a lot of her drama, a lot of her big feelings. It was my fault. And a lot of my mommy tantrums were totally, absolutely my fault. And more specifically, not me, myself, and I fault, but what I learned in the mental fitness was it was the fault of those 9 trauma coping mechanisms. Again, going back to the childhood, that's why we are doing childhood trauma therapy, healing. Because if you grew up anything like me, good girl or a good boy, if your parents made you feel like you cannot feel good about yourself unless you fulfill that long list of conditions, okay? If anybody made you feel that you're not worthy, not good enough, you can never say what you want. You can never have big emotions, because if you do, then go to your room and figure it out on your own, and then come back when you're being the nice, smiling, yes, yes, yes girl again, okay? Because like this, when you're frowning, when you're crying, when you're mad, oh, that's not nice. You're not a good girl. Go away. Go away. This, shame on you. How dare you? You have everything. We are giving you so many nice toys, such a nice home. You have a great life. How dare you being mean or angry, frustrated or sad? How dare you? I had such much more messed up childhood. You have such a beautiful childhood. How dare you? Okay. If you grew up feeling anything like this, then in order to avoid the pain of not being good enough and the fear of being rejected, even worse, even more by your parents, ultimately then in the child's mind, the ultimate fear is the fear of death. Because if my parents don't love me, if I'm really so unlovable, and if I make them too mad, they might even stop taking care of me. They might even kick me out on the street, and then I'm not going to survive. So ultimately, the fear of losing your parents' love translates for a small child. The smaller they are, the more they feel like it's really true. It's a fear of death. Okay. And so in order to avoid that pain and feeling that intense fear, what we all do, our smart nervous system, what it does, it develops ways to cope with it so that you're not completely paralyzed by this fear and you do not have a nervous breakdown at the age of 3 or 4 years old. So then what happens is that these voices in your head, they step in, they start being created. And what I mean by these voices is your own inner critic. So the voice of your parents criticizing you, you make it your own. You hear that voice in your head even when they are not talking, and then you start hearing it in advance. I must do this, I cannot do that. And he's so bad, he just did it, and he shouldn't. And this situation is so bad, it shouldn't have never happened. Everything trying to anticipate and prevent the bad situation from happening again so that your parents wouldn't criticize you and wouldn't judge you and wouldn't leave you, abandon you. Okay, that's the judge. All of us have the judge, yeah? Criticizing yourself, criticizing others, and criticizing the situations. All of us have that. But then on top, what we showed you, those 9 other trauma coping mechanisms, I had hyperachiever, because my mom had the same one. She had the same trauma coping mechanism, feeling not good enough. So, okay, what am I going to do so that I can feel a little bit more like better? Not good enough, but at least not that worse, not that bad. I started hyperachieving. So if there was 100% expected from me, I was trying to do 200. Always trying to do more, even before somebody asked me. Always trying to do better, faster, anticipating, and never being fully happy, celebrating, never feeling good about what I've done, because at any point when I reached the goal, I took one breath and I already started looking at the next mountain to climb. Okay? And it went with me through my childhood, super high achiever, A star graduate in every school, and always feeling terrible if I didn't get to the top. But then also it continued with me through my corporate career life, which is the thing that kicks butt for so many people, because then you can argue with me and you would be completely right. Aren't there the entire cultures and organizations and societal belief systems based around this? Achieve, push, and be the best, and competition, and work hard, hustle. Yes, they are. Does that mean we are all traumatized? Yes, we are. Because this is where we need to start distinguishing. What is your strength? What is your natural strength? Ambition, drive to do, to achieve. Motivation to do bigger things than what is just like in my little bubble, but helping more people. Those are good qualities. Maybe you have some of them too. But then whenever there was a trauma layer over it, and whenever it's driven by the fear of not being good enough and being abandoned, and the pain of not being worthy enough, then it explodes in your face. And then it's a trauma coping mechanism of hyperachieving. Okay? Once you heal that trauma that's surrounding you and you start achieving, you start doing things out of not feeling lack or pain or fear, but out of the positive intentions, out of knowing no matter what, I'm going to go through this, I'm going to survive, and it is going to have like better purpose, bigger reason in the end, it's going to be worth it. If you drive your actions from that place, that's the healthy way how to use your drive and ambition, okay? Without taking it overboard because of the trauma. So that's just an example of a hyperachiever. Why do I talk, why did I just spend so much time explaining that? Because I realized this was one of the things that was killing my relationship with my daughter, that was making me so nervous, burned out, stressed out, to the point that I started yelling at her when she was 1 year old. Because my hyperachiever trauma coping mechanism was overscheduling and overfilling my to-do list. I was never done. Whenever I had a break in my schedule, whenever something happened, my daughter was taken care of, she was peacefully playing, I put something else on my schedule because it felt I would feel guilty, lazy, bad, inefficient, you name it, if I took a break. So in my mind, taking breaks, not okay. Taking time for myself to make myself happy, not just everybody else, not okay. And by the way, that's a pleaser, people pleaser trauma coping mechanism, yeah? If your parents raised you that you can... I had that, and I'm laughing now, but I just remembered. I felt I could never sit on the sofa and read a book, watch TV, do whatever, if my mom was in the kitchen doing something. Because I knew sooner or later she would start shouting or walking around really stressed out, making us all feel guilty. How come she's working and we are sitting on the sofa? So since then, I feel guilty. Well, until I healed it, I used to feel guilty for sitting on the sofa doing nothing or having fun myself. I'm always looking around, and it became so ridiculous. Even for my husband, I knew he wouldn't blame me for anything. He would be like, yeah, for sure, go take your break. But I would feel guilty. I would feel as if he caught me. If he came home and I was sitting on the sofa doing nothing, reading a book, I would feel guilty. So I would even sit for like 5 minutes, and then I would know it's time for him to come back from work. So I would go and make myself busy, not just look busy, but I would be doing some stuff just so that he sees me being busy when he comes home. Anybody else understands what I'm talking about? Any other people pleasers, hyperachievers? Can you start seeing how that's creating your stress and pressure? And then our poor kids, at least I will talk for my poor daughter, this is how she was being the victim of it, yeah? Because by overfilling my schedule, putting so much pressure on myself to be perfect, yeah, perfectionism is another trauma coping mechanism, surprise, controlling, like freaking out, taking your organization and planning skills too far, letting your trauma abuse it, that's also controlling coping mechanism. Surprise! The more of them you have in a combination, the more it's preventing you from being able to manage your schedule in a healthy way. Create moments to be present and relax, take a break, decompress from the stress and recharge your batteries, and set healthy boundaries with your kids. Because if you're running on those trauma coping mechanisms, most likely you will start giving them to your kids. So you will start making your kids feel like schedules and timelines are more important than relationships and deep connection. You will stress them out into feeling they will feel like they are rushed. They will not feel they can relax as well. If there's too much controlling and not enough space and independence, they might start having these issues. For example, for the younger kids, as I mentioned it, with the food, because that's the only area of their lives they can control. If they vomit the food, at least they can push back and tell you, "Mommy, back off." If you let your trauma coping mechanisms play out and impact your relationship with your kids, those are all the impacts, those are all the results and signs and symptoms of how you will see it affecting your kids. Yeah, this is why I will keep shouting it from the rooftops as long as there's somebody listening and finding it valuable. Parenting techniques just scratch the surface. Whatever is going on with your kids, it's going on for them either because they are going through a completely normal developmental stage. For example, at the age of 2, they're supposed to start saying no. So please, let's stop judging them and calling it terrible twos. That only speaks about your inability, about your terrible ability to manage emotions because you were not helped. You were not taught how to manage your emotions. That's why you call it terrible two for your kid, because you have no idea what to do with it yourself. So let's please stop labeling our kids and let's turn the mirror to us. What is it in you? Which of these trauma coping mechanisms do you have? And isn't it time to start cleaning it up? Okay? Because this is then what became possible for me. So once I took out those strengths that I had, without the trauma layers on top, then how do I even explain that? Example. Okay, I'm going to explain it on an example. So now, for example, there are things that are non-negotiable. For example, with my daughter, she used to have a time when she didn't like to brush her teeth. But that's non-negotiable. We brush teeth at least twice a day, morning and evening. You don't want to brush your teeth? Okay, let's go to the store. You choose the toothbrush you want. Or you choose two, even. You choose your toothpaste so that when morning comes, evening comes, you choose. Which one do you want to use? This one or that one? Okay, great. Go ahead. Do you want me to start or you start brushing your teeth? See, like giving choices rather than being mad at her and then forcing her mouth and like opening. We never did that, but I felt like I would love to do that sometimes at the beginning, that I could just like take her face, force open her mouth, brush it while she would be crying and huge drama, red face, totally sweaty from all the drama, and me brushing the teeth. I wish I could do that. Like I had so much rage in me before when she was not listening. And I was thinking, well, I have to do it. How do you not want me? You're not giving me any options. Just open your mouth, let's brush your teeth, and then we are done with it. This is what it used to be. Now, after I stopped making it about myself, after I healed my own trauma from my childhood, and after I calmed down and created the space around it, then I saw it's really the need for her to be independent and to feel proud of how much she can do. Okay, so this is how our brushing teeth is going. Now, taking it to the next level, rather than me being the policewoman looking at the clock in the morning, like, hey guys, 5 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go, speed up, why are you playing, blah, 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 why are you not brushing teeth, shouting at her, go brush your teeth. No, none of that. I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth in the meantime. I'm changing my clothes in the meantime because I realized why I was so much stressed about the time. Because in my mind, the voices in my head, my controller, my hyperachiever, trauma coping mechanisms were stressing me out. That the more time she takes to get ready, the less time I will have to take ready. Okay, and that's a lie. I realized I can be getting ready because there's more and more things she can be doing on her own. So rather than standing there and being mad at her and waiting for her in the bathroom, when are you finally coming to brush your teeth? I'm doing my stuff in the meantime. So, and I know it sounds like a silly, stupid example, but try to see for yourself. When are you stressing yourself, being so hung up on your kids doing some things in a certain way, trying to control the time and the way how they do it? What if you could back off a little bit? What if you could co-create, depending on their age, new rules, new boundaries? What is non-negotiable? Like brushing teeth in the morning. But what part of that process is totally negotiable and can be in the full control of your kids? In terms of like what toothbrush they use, when they do it, do they do it before they dress up or after they dress up? I don't care. Yeah. But if you let go of your controller and hyperachiever trauma, what would become possible? How many situations could you diffuse the drama from? Could you not escalate by you creating some drama and complaining that your kids are not listening? Okay. And we have lots of podcast episodes where we talk about specific situations about the food and the bedtime routines and like controlling mama, policewoman mama. Yeah. I talk about it a lot in podcasts. So just go, and if you need any specific examples, find those podcast episodes or reach out to me. I will help you find the one that speaks about the specific challenge you have. But can you see how that translates? Yeah. And so what is it that we are doing in mental fitness? How do we do it? Very simple. I'm going to share with you in like high level what's happening. First of all, it's creating space so that you even catch those voices that are doing it in your head. Then you will realize, yes, this is my hyperachiever. Yes, this is my controlling voice. Yes, I'm stressed out because I was people pleasing and I was saying yes, 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 because she was always crying and making the puppy eyes. So I was saying yes, but now that I want to say no and mean it, like, of course, she's crying and screaming to get my attention and get it again. All of these, you need to be able to catch those voices so that you stop blaming your kids and you start seeing, well, where did I contribute? Maybe I didn't cause it 100% their drama, but where did I contribute? Really, own it. And then for each of those 9 trauma coping mechanisms we teach inside the mental fitness, what is the way to turn it around, to shift it? And I call that, what is the antidote? What do you do instead? Because for each of them specifically, there will be a different way how to handle it. Yeah, there will be a different way how to handle your hyperachiever voices, than a different way how to handle when you feel like you're the victim of your life. Yeah, because for each of them we have a specific process that it's super fast, because all of our moms are super busy super moms. And the good news is that once you start working with your one key saboteur and your judge, because your judge is always the strongest, that's given for all of us. There's nothing wrong with you if you have a judging inner critical voice, we all do. Once you start doing those 2, you will start feeling the shifts all around in your life, not just in your parenting, in your entire life. And this is what becomes mind-blowing for the women and men we work with, because they never even realized. I just spoke to one of our dads in the group, I think like 2 weeks ago, and he said, well, I started looking for my judge and I was expecting it to be some little voice somewhere hiding, and he was making comments as if he would see it in his mind. Like, I expected him to hide somewhere so small, behind the sofa or under the carpet. I realized it's not that. I am the judge. And I told him, yeah, the judge is not so small that you can hardly ever see it or feel it. The judge is becoming you. Just look in your mirror. Aren't you walking around, spending your day criticizing yourself, beating yourself up, criticizing other people to make yourself feel better, and judging the situations like, oh, it's so bad today, it's raining, oh, I'm so depressed, or oh, I have my hormones this week, and oh, it's going to be so difficult. Yes, life is tough. And so what? Are you going to be the victim of it? Are you going to let your judge everything around it? Or when you now know there's a way to feel completely at peace, don't always have to be sunny, shiny, happy. You're allowed to have crappy days when you're tired, when you're sad a little bit, when you're frustrated a little bit. You're allowed to have all the emotions while being at peace with it and without emotionally vomiting it on other people as well. How about that? Would that be worth your time? Yeah. So 2 things we can give you to get started. One thing, we are going to link up for you saboteur assessment. so that you know, because these saboteurs, aka trauma coping mechanisms, the first step is always like, you need to know who it is. Who is it talking in your head? It's a free assessment. When you do it, you type in your email address and you get the results. And it's directly on that Positive Intelligence website. Okay. Second free link we are going to give you is for you to do your PQ score. PQ, meaning positive intelligence, like IQ is the smart intelligence, logical brain quotient. PQ measures, as I told you, that percentage from 0 to 100%. And what is your ability to stay calm even under pressure? It's going to give you a percentage. Okay. Ideal is to have 75% and above, because that means no matter what comes, perfectly imperfect, you're able to handle it. The lower your number is, the more work there is for you. But then the good news is also the faster you will start feeling the results once you have the tools and methods of mental fitness. Okay. So if you're curious about what your score is, who your saboteurs are, most likely you already know, but if you want to have it confirmed, go grab those 2 links and then reach out to me if you want to talk about your results and if you want to know more about how we do it inside the program. Yeah. The good news is that really the results are very fast. Shirzad Chamine, the author of this system and the one who did research on 500,000 participants, including their brain scans, it's really just, it's based and baked into a research, extensive research over many years they have done. That's why it goes like even deeper than just mindfulness. Oh, just get distracted and be calm, be cool. No, it goes much deeper because it gives you those practical ways how to handle these trauma coping mechanisms. They developed this system really for executives, but then they tested it and we tested it with hundreds, if not thousands of moms, and the results are very fast. In the first 2 weeks, your ability to handle those situations, to start uncovering those voices in your head, it jumps up. You will feel difference. There are moms who are telling us after the first week, she's like, I didn't yell today. I just realized it in the evening. I didn't do any screaming today. Yes, I raised my voice. Okay, let's be honest. I raised my voice, but I didn't shout today. How amazing. Yeah. And then we asked them 6 weeks later and they are saying, well, I don't even remember the last time I yelled. It works fast. It takes few seconds a day, unlike meditation, spiritual practices. Keep all of them. If you're doing it, keep it. Nothing wrong with that. But they take time. But I know I'm talking to busy parents here. So if you have just few seconds a day, it works so fast. Yeah. So if you would be curious in knowing how we do it and if it would work for you as well inside the Zen Supermom program, then reach out. I'll be happy to have a chat. Yeah. So I did this episode just to explain and give it more meat to the bone because I don't have enough time usually to explain this in those mommy tantrum trainings. If you would want to sign up for one of them and get the full explanation of what the program is, how we do it, what is the trauma piece as well, the first piece that I just quickly brushed over, then we will put here a link for you also to register to a mommy tantrum training, the next one we'll be doing. And yeah, the key is really let me know. Tell me how all of this is landing for you. Tell me all of your yes, but questions. Yeah, I'm here to help. This is why I'm spending so much of my time, why this podcast is free. I want everybody who has open ears and open heart, everybody who's ready to stop blaming everything on the children and start looking inside. I want you to have access to all of this information for free. Okay. Then the next step, the program is a paid program because we give you a lot of one-on-one attention and there is one-on-one sessions and one-on-one coaching. But these first steps, what we are giving you here in the podcast is all free. So go as far as you can with it. Run, and keep me posted how it's working for you. Wouldn't it be fun if the next testimonial we post somewhere online would be about you? And what amazing results you got in the first 2 weeks after practicing mental fitness and healing your trauma. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be fun if 3 months from now, I would be doing the next podcast interview episode with you, sharing your wins about how you managed to turn your whatever happened in your childhood and however crazy momzilla, like burned out supermom you were, how you managed to turn it around in 3 months. Inspiring other moms with your story. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be amazing? It's all possible for you. So go ahead, grab those 2 links, Do your first assessments. Let me know what results you got, and let's talk. Bye, Supermom. Want to know why those gentle parenting techniques are not working for you? Where is that uncontrollable anger that you feel with your kids? Where is it coming from? Then download this mini book. I prepared it for you, busy, loving, but yelling supermom or super dad. Because no, it's not about learning more parenting techniques. It's not about doing classic talk therapy. It's not about more self-care time so that you can de-stress. No, there's something deeper going on. It's not even about your kids. So I compiled this mini book out of my most successful 1 hour long live training that I'm doing. I compressed it in just a few pages so that you can learn these 2 keys that you need to be able to stay calm with your kids, no matter how stressed you are, no matter how much they are pushing your boundaries, so that you know what it's going to take for you to stay calm and set healthy boundaries without yelling. Want to know how? Get that mini book now.